Hi, my name is Tom Becker, and this is my presentation on secondary dominants. Secondary dominants, also called applied dominants, are dominant function harmonies that are applied to chords other than the tonic of the key. They are chromatic chords that intensify motion toward non-tonic function chords, and they are chromatic because they are non-diatonic chords drawn from pitches outside of the diatonic collection associated with the primary key. The result of the use of secondary dominants is that a chord other than tonic becomes tonicized. However, the key of the passage does not really change, and the temporary tonic soon moves back to its normal function within the primary key. Here's a well-known pop example of the use of secondary dominants, and the secondary dominant in this excerpt is the A7. The A7 is going to exert more drive towards the end of this phrase, the D7 moving into the G chord. Now I'm going to compare that to eliminating the secondary dominant and just placing the normal diatonic minor 2 chord in that position. You can see how it has less direction than the secondary dominant. This harmony, as opposed to the tension this harmony adds, really spices up the chord progression. Spelling secondary dominants. To spell secondary dominants, think of the total goal of the secondary dominant as a temporary tonic key. For example, in Love Me Tender, the total center of D, 5 in the key of G, is acting as the goal of the preceding secondary dominant. The third of A7, C sharp, is providing the leading tone from the key of D, and the 7th of A7, G, is the 4th scale degree of the key of D. In the secondary key of D, secondary key of D, A7 to D is 5-7 to 1. In the primary key of G, A7 to D is 5-7 of 5 to 5. Note, the secondary dominant does not have to be a 7th chord. It can simply be a major triad. In this case, A major moving to D could provide the secondary dominant function. Another approach to spelling the secondary dominant, 5-7 of 5, is to adjust certain scale degrees in the primary key. For example, the 5-7 of 5 in the key of G, A7, requires that G's 4th scale degree C be raised to C sharp to provide the chordal third of the A7. And that scale degree 1 from the tonic key, G, is added to provide the chordal 7th of the A7. If the primary key were minor, then another chromatic adjustment is required to spell the 5-7 of 5, in this case A7. For example, in the key of G minor, not only do we need to raise the 4th scale degree, C to C sharp, for the chordal third of A7, but the lowered 6th degree of G minor, E flat, needs to be raised to E natural to supply the chordal 5th of A7. Secondary leading tone chords as substitutes for secondary dominants. Since leading tone chords can substitute for 5 chords as a dominant function, secondary leading tone chords can likewise substitute for secondary dominants. The most common secondary leading tone chord is the fully diminished 7th in root position and in first and second inversions. Less common are the diminished triad moved to 5 and the half diminished 7th moved to 5. Used in place of dominant 5 or 5-7, secondary leading tone chords progressions to 5, for example, are as follows. 5 diminished 7 of 5 to 5, First inversion, 7 diminished 7 of 5 to 5, and second inversion, 7 diminished 7 of 5 to 5. And you can also just use the triad, 7 diminished of 5 to 5, and, like I said before, the half diminished 7 chord to 5. Here's an example of traditional use of secondary dominance. In measure 4, right here, it begins a tonic prolongation with the chord progression C goes to G goes to C goes to G goes to C. At the tail end of this progression, this prolongation, right here is a secondary leading tone chord moving into 5. The first chord of the next measure is our 5-6-4, moving to 5-7, moving to 1 to 5-7 to 1, another short tonic prolongation. And then we have a 5-4-3 of 6, moving to 6, and this is another secondary dominant that you will hear. And then the progression closes out with the basic predominant, dominant to tonic progression. Here's the tonic prolongation. Here comes the secondary leading tone chord to 5, F sharp diminished, moving to 5-6-4, 5-7, another little prolongation of 1, and here is your 5 of 6, 5-7 of 6 to be exact, and this closes out with a predominant 2 chord, moving to 5-6-4, 5, and to 1. The F sharp diminished 7 could be argued that it is part of the tonic prolongation, but even more so, it really puts a drive into the dominant area, which is very important. Anytime we move to the cadential 6-4, moving to 5-7, it's a very special event. And then moving through the rest of the progression, when the prolongation of 1 is over with, the 5-4-3 or 5-7 in second inversion of 5, moving us into the 6th chord, provides a G sharp, that chromatic pitch, moving as a leading tone into the A minor chord, is also very effective, and it gives a lot of color to the music. Secondary dominant and its secondary leading tone substitutes affect a change to the harmony they resolve to, and this change is called tonicization. Tonicization is the process of a dominant function harmony moving to a non-tonic harmony, the effect of which is an intensified drive towards a non-functional tonic. Of course, secondary dominant tonicizations are brief, often involving only 2 chords, and the effect of the tonal change is fleeting, namely without the length and strength to move the music into another key center. However, their brief tonal shifts and the chromaticism they provide makes a musical passage more dramatic and colorful. Well, this is the end of my presentation, and thank you for watching, and very much thank you for inviting me.